He spent months hiding behind a smile, until the night he finally let me see who he really was. It was just another quiet morning in our shared apartment. The smell of burnt toast drifted from the kitchen, mixed with the sound of his favorite playlist humming from the speaker. Ethan, my so-called straight roommate, was shirtless again, brushing his hair in front of the mirror like he didn't know how distracting he was. I tried not to look. I really did. But when you live with someone who makes your heart race just by existing, it's not that simple. "Morning," he said, flashing that lazy smile that always made my chest tighten. "Hey," I mumbled, pretending to scroll through my phone. We'd been roommates for almost a year. He'd dated girls, brought them over sometimes. And yet, the way his eyes lingered on me when he thought I wasn't looking, it told a different story. There were small moments that confused me. The way he'd sit too close on the couch. The way his fingers brushed mine when he passed the remote. The way he once said, "You know, it's weird how comfortable I am with you. I don't get that with anyone else." I laughed it off, but it stayed in my mind. That morning, as he walked past me, his shoulder brushed against mine. He paused for a second too long. Our eyes met. Neither of us said a word, but something heavy filled the silence, something we both felt but never named. Then he broke it with a half smile. "Don't forget, movie night tonight." "Just us," I nodded, hiding my smile behind a sip of coffee. But deep down, I knew tonight wasn't going to be just another movie night. It felt like something inside him was finally breaking. The act, the pretending, the walls he built to stay straight. And I had no idea how much that night would change everything. By evening, the apartment felt different, quiet but charged with something unspoken. Ethan had dimmed the lights, pulled the curtains halfway, and tossed a blanket on the couch. "Just like old times," he said, smiling. "Yeah," I replied, trying to sound casual even though my pulse was racing. We sat close, too close for just friends. The movie started, but I couldn't focus on it. Every time he shifted, his arm brushed against mine. Every time he laughed, my heart skipped. Halfway through, he reached for the popcorn bowl and his fingers brushed mine again. This time he didn't pull away. Neither did I. The silence grew heavy. The screen flickered in front of us, but all I could hear was the sound of our breathing. "Can I ask you something?" he said quietly. "Sure," I whispered. He hesitated, then looked straight into my eyes. "Do you ever feel like people expect you to be someone you're not?" The question hit deeper than he probably intended. "Yeah," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "All the time," he nodded slowly. "Me too." The room felt smaller, warmer. He leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "I don't know what's wrong with me, man. I mean, I like girls, I do, but..." He stopped mid-sentence, shaking his head like he regretted saying anything. "But what?" I asked gently. His eyes flicked to mine again, softer now, vulnerable. "Forget it," he said, forcing a smile. "It's nothing," but I could tell it wasn't nothing. It was everything. He looked at me again, longer this time. And for the first time, there wasn't confusion in his eyes. There was fear and truth. Neither of us said another word for the rest of the movie. But as the credits rolled, I realized something had shifted between us, something that couldn't be undone. It was past midnight when the movie ended. The room was dim, lit only by the fading glow of the TV. Ethan didn't move. Neither did I. The silence between us was louder than any words we could have said. Finally, he spoke. "You ever think about how different your life would be if you just stopped pretending?" My heart thudded in my chest. "Pretending about what?" He turned his head toward me, his eyes glossy in the low light. "Everything," he whispered. "Who you like, what you feel, what scares you." For a second, I couldn't breathe. He looked broken. Not the confident, easygoing guy I'd always known, just a man at war with himself. "Ethan..." I started, but he cut me off with a shaky laugh. "I've been lying to myself for so long," he said, trying to prove something I don't even believe anymore. I felt a lump in my throat. "You don't have to prove anything to anyone," I said softly. "Least of all to me." He stared at me for a long moment. Then, without saying a word, he reached out and touched my hand. It was small, barely a brush of his fingers, but it felt like everything stopped. "I'm tired," he whispered. "Tired of pretending I don't see you, that I don't feel this." My chest tightened. I wanted to say something, anything, but words failed me. He looked terrified, like he'd just confessed a crime instead of a feeling. I squeezed his hand gently. "You're not alone," I said. He exhaled, trembling. "Then stay. Just for tonight. Don't go to your room." So I didn't. We sat there, two people who had spent months dancing around a truth that finally refused to stay hidden. And as he rested his head on my shoulder, I realized something I'd been too scared to admit. He wasn't pretending anymore, and neither was I. I woke up to the sound of rain tapping against the window. For a moment I forgot where I was, until I felt the warmth beside me. Ethan. He was still asleep, his head resting near my shoulder, one arm loosely draped across me. His breathing was soft, calm, like he finally found peace after months of running from himself. But as I lay there watching him, reality began to whisper all the questions I didn't want to ask. What happens now? Was last night a mistake? Was he going to pretend again? When he finally stirred, he blinked at me, confusion flickering in his eyes before turning into a shy smile. "Morning," he said softly. "Morning," I replied, trying not to sound nervous. For a few seconds, it felt like everything was okay. Then I saw it, the way his expression changed. The realization, the fear. He sat up, running a hand through his hair. I don't know what last night was," he said. I lost control." The words hit harder than I expected. "Lost control?" I echoed quietly. "Ethan, you didn't do anything wrong." He stood up, pacing. "You don't get it. I can't just be this person." "Who?" I asked. "Someone honest?" He stopped, looking at me like I'd just peeled away every wall he'd built. "It's not that simple," he whispered. "People expect me to be someone else. My family, my friends. Everyone," I swallowed hard. "And what about you? What do you expect from yourself?" He didn't answer. Instead, he grabbed his hoodie, mumbling something about needing air, and walked out into the rain. The door closed softly behind him. And just like that, I was alone again, with nothing but the echo of last night and the hollow sound of rain. I didn't know if he'd come back. But I knew one thing for sure, pretending wasn't an option anymore. The rain didn't stop that day. Hours passed, but he didn't come back. Every sound outside made me look up, hoping it was him. But it never was. By evening, the sky had darkened, and the apartment felt heavier than ever. His hoodie was still on the couch, damp from his hands when he'd left. I picked it up and held it, breathing in that familiar scent, a mix of rain, coffee, and him. I tried not to cry. But sometimes love demands to be felt, even in silence. When I finally heard the door unlock, my heart stopped. He stood there, soaked and trembling, eyes red from more than just the rain. "I didn't know where else to go," he whispered. I walked closer, my voice barely steady. "You always had somewhere to go, Ethan. You just had to stop running from it." He let out a shaky breath. I was scared. Of what people would think. Of what you'd think. "I never asked you to be anyone else," I said softly. "Just be real." He looked at me, tears glistening in his eyes. "And if being real means loving you?" I froze, not because I didn't know what to say, but because it was the first time he'd said it out loud. "Then that's all I ever wanted," I whispered. He stepped forward, his hands trembling as he cupped my face. "I don't know what's going to happen after this," he said, his voice cracking. "But I'm done pretending I don't feel it. I'm done pretending I don't see you." The tears finally spilled, his and mine, and for the first time, nothing felt confusing. It just was, honest, messy, real. He pulled me into his arms, holding on like he'd been waiting his whole life to do it. And in that quiet, rain-soaked moment, we weren't labels or expectations or secrets. We were just two people who found home in each other, because love doesn't always arrive when it's easy. Sometimes it arrives when you stop pretending you don't need it, and that night, he finally stopped pretending. He said we'd always be just friends, but that night his eyes told a different story. He always said we'd be just friends. And for a long time I believed him, or maybe I just wanted to. His name was Liam, my best friend since college, the kind of guy everyone liked, confident, funny, the kind of smile that could make you forget every bad day you ever had. We'd been through everything together, heartbreaks, birthdays, hangovers, and those long nights talking about dreams that never seemed to come true. But somewhere between late-night coffee runs and sleepy goodbyes, I started to feel something I shouldn't have, something I could never say out loud. It started small. A glance that lingered too long. A touch that didn't feel like just friends. But Liam? He never noticed, or maybe he just pretended not to. One night he came over after breaking up with his girlfriend. His eyes were tired, voice low. "She said I'm too distant," he muttered, dropping onto the couch beside me. I laughed softly. "You are distant. Even with me sometimes." He looked at me then, really looked. "You think so?" I nodded. "You build walls. You only let people see the version of you that feels safe." He smirked. "And what version do you see?" The question caught me off guard. I wanted to say, "The one who makes my heart race." But instead I said, "The real one. The one who's scared to be alone." He went quiet for a long moment. Then he whispered, "You know me too well." Our eyes met. For a second, the world fell away. The sound of the clock, the soft light from the TV, even the rain outside. It was just us. Then he laughed nervously and broke the tension. "Good thing we're just friends, huh?" I forced a smile. "Yeah, just friends." But as he leaned back against the couch, his hand brushed mine. Neither of us moved. Neither of us spoke, and in that silence, it didn't feel like just friendship anymore. After that night, something changed between us. It wasn't sudden, but it was there, in the way he started looking at me. Before, he used to laugh things off. Tease me, call me bro, like we were just another pair of friends who shared secrets and bad jokes. But lately, his eyes lingered longer. His laughter faded quicker. One morning, I caught him watching me make coffee, just standing there, silent. "What?" I asked, trying to sound casual. He blinked, snapping out of it. "Nothing," he said quickly. "You just look different today." "Different how?" I smiled. He shrugged. "I don't know, just different." It was the kind of different you feel but don't explain. The kind that hides more than it says. We started hanging out more, staying up later than we used to. He'd find reasons to stay. One more episode. Just 5 more minutes. It's too late to go home now. One night, we were watching a movie when he asked, out of nowhere, "Do you ever wish things were easier?" I frowned. "What do you mean?" He hesitated. "Like, that people didn't expect you to be someone you're not." My chest tightened. "Yeah, I wish that all the time." He looked at me then, eyes soft, voice low. "You're lucky, you know." "You don't hide who you are," I smiled sadly. "You say that like it's easy." He didn't respond. Just stared at the screen, though I could tell he wasn't watching it anymore. When the credits rolled, he didn't move. Then quietly, he said, "You ever think maybe we're more than just friends?" My heart stopped. He said it like a confession, soft, scared, and unfinished. I turned toward him, searching his face. "Do you want us to be?" He looked away, his jaw tightening. I don't know, but I saw it in his eyes. The truth he couldn't say. He did know. He just wasn't ready to admit it yet. And as he leaned back into the couch, our shoulders touched again, familiar, yet heavier this time. He didn't move away, and neither did I. It had been a week since that night on the couch, since he'd asked if we were more than friends. We never talked about it again, but the silence between us wasn't the same anymore. He started showing up more, at my door, in my space, in my thoughts. Every small thing he did began to mean too much. The way his hand brushed mine when we walked side by side, the way his voice softened when he said my name. I wanted to ask him what he felt, but I was afraid. Because if he denied it again, I didn't know if my heart could take it. One evening, he came over with takeout and 2 cans of soda. No girlfriends. No friends. Just him and me. We sat on the floor, eating, laughing, pretending everything was normal. But halfway through a joke, his laughter stopped. He just stared at me, like the joke didn't matter anymore. "What?" I asked, smiling nervously. He shook his head. "You have this way of looking at me," he said softly. "Like you already know what I'm trying to hide." My smile faded. "Maybe I do." He looked down, picking at his drink can. "I keep telling myself it's nothing. That it's just comfort, just friendship." "And is it?" I asked. He looked up again, and there was something raw in his eyes. Fear, longing, truth. "I don't know anymore," he whispered. The room went silent. My chest ached from how fast my heart was beating. He reached out then, slowly, carefully, and touched my hand. "Every time I'm with you," he said, his voice trembling, "I feel safe." "And that scares me," I swallowed hard. "Why?" "Because I've never felt that with anyone else." He let go before I could say anything. Then he stood up, his breathing uneven. "I should go," he muttered. "Liam," I started, but he cut me off. "I just need time," he said. "I don't want to hurt you, but I can't keep pretending either." The door closed behind him, leaving only the sound of my own heartbeat echoing in the quiet. That night, I realized something painful yet beautiful. Sometimes love doesn't need words. It just needs courage, and he wasn't ready to have it yet. 3 days. That's how long it had been since I last saw Liam. No calls, no messages. Just silence, from the kind that hurts more than any goodbye ever could. I told myself I'd stop waiting, stop hoping. But love isn't something you switch off. It lingers, in your chest, in your memories, in the sound of their laughter still echoing in your head. It was raining again that night when I heard a knock on my door. For a moment, I thought I was imagining it, but then I heard his voice, quiet, shaking. "It's me." When I opened the door, he was standing there, drenched in rain, eyes tired and red. "I tried to stay away," he said, voice trembling. "I really did," my heart twisted. "Then why are you here?" He stepped inside, dripping water onto the floor, his breath uneven. "Because everything feels wrong when you're not around." He laughed nervously, running a hand through his wet hair. "I keep telling myself it's just friendship, that I don't feel this way. But every time I say it, it feels like I'm lying." I stared at him, trying to hold back the tears. "Then stop lying." He looked up, eyes full of fear and longing. "I don't know how." "You already did," I whispered. For a moment, neither of us moved. The sound of the rain filled the room, steady, soft, like the world was holding its breath with us. Then, slowly, he stepped closer. His voice was barely a whisper. "I'm scared of what this means," I nodded. "Me too." He took another step. "But I'm more scared of losing you." And that's when everything fell apart. Or maybe finally came together. He reached out, his fingers brushing my face, trembling as he whispered, "I don't want to pretend anymore." The tears that fell weren't just his. They were mine too, because for the first time he wasn't fighting what he felt. He was finally letting it in. We didn't need to say, "I love you." It was already there. In the way he looked at me, in the way our hands fit perfectly between the silence and the storm. The rain had stopped by morning. Sunlight spilled gently across the room, touching everything that had been left in the dark for far too long. Liam was still asleep on the couch, wrapped in the same blanket we'd shared the night before. His hand was resting near mine, not holding it, but close enough that I could feel the warmth. For a while, I just watched him. The rise and fall of his chest, the soft calm on his face. He looked free. When he opened his eyes, he smiled, the kind of smile that comes after a long fight with yourself. "Hey," he whispered. "Hey," I said back, trying to hide the way my voice shook. He sat up slowly, rubbing his neck. "I don't know what happens now," he said. "I don't have the answers. I just know I can't keep pretending that what I feel for you isn't real." I felt my throat tighten. "You don't have to have all the answers, Liam. You just have to stop running from the truth." He nodded, tears filling his eyes. "I'm tired of hiding. Tired of hurting people, including you. I thought keeping distance would protect you, but it only broke both of us." I reached for his hand this time, and not by accident, not by hesitation. "Then let's stop breaking," I said softly. He laughed through his tears, squeezing my hand. "You still want me after all this?" I smiled. I never stopped. For a long time, neither of us spoke. The quiet was full, not empty. It felt like forgiveness, like peace. He leaned his forehead against mine, whispering, "I don't know where this goes. But I want it to start here. With you. And that's how it happened. Not with fireworks, not with grand gestures. Just two people choosing to be honest, finally. Because love doesn't always ask for perfection. Sometimes, it just asks for truth. And for the first time, Liam wasn't my just friend. He was the boy who finally stopped pretending, and chose to love me as he truly was.